New month today, but so much has happened last month, and the major thing has been the political highlights of last month. Now, we had the NRM hold their delegates conference, and of course there were a number of elections, primaries, prior to the NRM. Now, winners are jubilating as losers are still having a number of issues to sort out. As we speak, there are some of the losers or who lost in these various elective positions. Some are threatening to cross to the opposition, others threatening to come as independents. But just as we thought we were done and dusted with the NRM, because even the Entrepreneur League, we saw the party chairperson and the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Thomas Twayebwa, and the chairman of the party, that is President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, meet these gentlemen. I saw Philip Kakulu, I saw King Caesar, I saw Haji Hassan Basajja Baraba, meet them, and they came to a conclusion for the good of their party that Hassan Basajja Baraba does take over the Entrepreneurship League chair there. So as the dust is settling in the NRM, I must say, and now we wait to see what the Committee of Eminent Persons is going to do to ensure they bring hearts together, amend the people. Now comes in the National Unity Platform. As we entered the weekend, social media was awash by losers and winners in the National Unity Platform. I don't want to call it internal elections, because theirs is about voting. It is not a democratic process of people lining up or people casting votes. They have a committee of eminent and people, according to them, who handle this. Now, a number of people lost, and the public thought that these were deserving of that ticket. I was following a number of people. One, I'll use the names that are very common to them. That is Bobby Giant. Wow, that huge man in the National Unity Platform. Many thought that, yes, he would take the mayor seat for Ginger City. But unfortunately, that wasn't what the vetting committee found out. So there was quite a number of disappointment. Many to those who claim to be foot soldiers in the party. They believe that this is a person who has done so much, and denying him a ticket wasn't that very good. Now there's some dust in there. Now also come to Sauda Madada. Many know this lady who has been vocal, a fighter, a commander of the foot soldiers, purportedly doing so much. Now it was automatic that maybe she would have that councilship ticket by the National Unity Platform. Many assumed that these are people who have put their backs, who have put their legs, who have been hit and beaten for the sake of the party. So it's a time to bless them as well with a party ticket. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Sauda Madada did not get the ticket. Quite a number of them, as we go on, we'll be looking at that. And of course, I wait for more who gets and who doesn't get. So the political scene ended last month because we are in a new month. Now, we don't know what this month is going to bring for us, but of course we know we are nearing elections each day that passes. And of course, when you look at the national calendar, already we've begun on elective positions. Now, away from politics, I just want to take you through what stories we have. I'm not with my partner in this, Julie, but very soon she'll be back with us. So let's just look at some of our local stories this morning. President Yoweri Museveni has urged all the women in Uganda to continue nurturing children by instilling in them values that will enable them to become patriotic Ugandans. Museveni wants women to teach children the value of being hardworking, honesty, and trustworthy to enable them to be corrupt-free. The president was speaking at the Women and Mothers Union of Uganda in a message delivered by the Prime Minister Robin Anabanja at the closing of the annual Mothers Union Conference held in Kabulasoke Primary Teachers College in Gomba District. The president donated over 500 million shillings towards their Uganda Mothers Union Cooperative Society. Gender-based discrimination and violence in workplaces has infringed on the rights of workers. A survey by Court Centept Africa Team and the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development in partnership with Enable shows that hospitality, tourism and agriculture sector in the Albertine and Rwenzori region rank high in abuse in workplaces. The joint survey by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development in partnership with Belgian Agency for International Cooperation, enabled and implemented by Concept Africa team, indicates that there is an insurgency in increase of discrimination and violence against women in the hospitality, tourism and agriculture in the Albertine and Rwenzori region. The research focused on Albertine and Rwenzori regions, targeting the agricultural sector, that is coffee, cocoa and vanilla. The tourism, hospitality sector also was included. As part of the initiative, a communication campaign was undertaken by the project's consultant to address gender-based discrimination and violence. The International Labour Organization set the agenda to wipe out gender-based violence and discrimination at places of work, and Uganda is a signatory to the number of the that is the International Labour Organization conventions, including Section 190. The 5-year thematic profile and section protection and decent work aims to improve the living conditions and resiliency of vulnerable populations across the Great Region. The sickle cell organizations in Uganda have called upon government to subsidize on the drugs which sickle cell disease the patients need regularly to be life-changing condition. In Uganda, around 25,000 babies are born with sickle cells every year, and about 80% of the babies hardly celebrate their 5th birthday. This is mainly as a result of expense involved in securing the drug, which is an oral disease-modifying medication that reduces pain and need of blood transfusion. During a blood donation campaign organized by Caris Medical Center in Chanja, it was noticed that babies, unfortunately, many of their parents can't afford these drugs. The availability of blood is an essential component needed by sickle cell warriors in the struggle to survive. Currently, 450,000 units of blood are needed to manage the deficit in the country. The blood donation drive, championed by Caris Medical Center, is expected to collect over 500 units of blood. The Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo, has commended institutions of higher learning to implement the Ministry of Education policy on vocational skills. This was contained in a speech read for her by the State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. Jesse Muyingo, at the 18th graduation ceremony of Makerere Institute for Social Development in Kampala. Over 600 graduates, among them 91 were police officers who graduated at the 18th graduation ceremony of the institute. State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. Jesse Muyingo, represented the Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo. In the speech read to her by the Minister, the Vice President emphasized implementing the Ministry of Education policy. She also appealed to the graduates to utilize the skills and knowledge to create job creation. The Commissioner for General Training and Human Resource in Uganda Police, ACP Moses Byabaje, said the training will reduce on the budget of recruiting professionals in the Uganda Police. The principal of the institute, Mili K. Mugisha, highlighted the role of private institutions for the investment to support the sector. Some of the police officers who graduated appreciated the training. And with that, I come to the end of our local stories this morning. Now, let's take a look at what the international scene has for us today. Hamas spokesperson Abu Abeida killed in Gaza, says Israel. The spokesperson of the Hamas armed wing was killed in an aerial attack in Gaza, Israel said. The Israel's defense minister, Katz, congratulated the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, the Israel's security agency, Shin Bet, for the flawless execution in a post on X. Hamas has not confirmed his death. The Palestinian armed group earlier said dozens of civilians were killed and injured in Israel airstrikes, as residential buildings in the district were also targeted. Local journalists reported that at least 7 people had been killed and 20 injured in the strike on the densely populated Al Rayol neighborhood of Gaza City, with children among the casualties. Saturday's attack comes amid ongoing aerial strikes on Gaza City ahead of the planned Israel offensive. Katzi warned on Sunday that many more of Obedi's criminal partners would be targeted with the intensification of the campaign in Gaza, a reference to the recently approved Israel plan to seize control of Gaza City. At least 20 killed and dozens more feared dead in Afghanistan quake. A magnitude of 6.0 earthquake has struck eastern Afghanistan at a relatively slower depth of 8 kilometers or 6 miles. Officials told the BBC that at least 20 people have been killed and more than 100 are being treated at hospitals for injuries. Dozens of houses are under rubble, said multiple sources from the Taliban government, and it is feared that the death toll could rise. Taliban government officials have urged humanitarian organizations to aid the rescue efforts in remote mountainous areas. Some are only accessible by air due to landslides and floods. The quake has shaken buildings from Kabul to Pakistan's capital, Istanbul, which is more than 300 kilometers away. Around 20 minutes after the earthquake strike, it hit some regions, according to the USGS, later followed by more trouble. Right now, local officials and residents are making all the efforts to rescue affected ones. Support teams from the capital and nearby provinces are also on their way. All the available resources will be used for the rescue and relief of the people, said the authorities. Now, looking at the African continent, and we begin with our brothers in Zimbabwe, where Zimbabwe's president meets Pope Leo. Now, Zimbabwe's President Emmanuel Mnangagwa met Pope Leo, that is the 14th, on Saturday at an apostolic palace in Vatican. According to the Holy See Press Office, the discussions in the Secretariat of State focused on the private relationship between the Holy See and Zimbabwe. The conversations covered various aspects of Zimbabwe's political and economic situation, particularly the collaboration with the local church in fields such as healthcare, education, and environment. Additionally, the parties exchanged views on the regional issues, underscoring the importance of promoting multilateralism, dialogue, and cooperation among nations. Following the meeting with the Pope, Mnangagwa met with Cardinal Petro Proton, the Vatican Secretary of State, as well as Monsignor Richard Paul, Secretary for Relations with States and International Organizations. Zimbabwe has faced a significant economic downturn in recent years, characterized by high inflation and devalued currency. Now that brings us to the end of our local and international stories. We will now look at what is in the press this morning. We'll begin with a New Vision this morning. Now the New Vision, can we have that displayed, please? Beginning with a New Vision, retirement age for senior medics raised. Now, if you're a medic there, retirement age for senior medics has been raised, according to the New Vision this morning. Still in the New Vision, we see Muhoozi. Okay, let me just look at what is under there. that is Army Chief Muhoozi in reference Atachi with the military. Still looking at the New Vision this morning. More jobs there for you. So if you're looking for jobs, yes, the New Vision has you there. You can get a copy and see what jobs are there for you in the New Vision this morning. Still looking at the New Vision, we see hundreds who gathered there as 3 billion collected from lottery cancer run. So that was the lottery cancer run there where we saw many people gather, and Army Chief Muhoozi, UK Defense Attaché hold our talks. Still looking at the New Vision, we see Abodo becomes first woman principal judge. That is Jane Francis Abodo, first woman principal judge. And President Yoweri Museveni responds to Kadaga statement. What did the president say? Well, and court orders envoy off disputed land. Now, that is what we have in the New Vision, but of course there are more stories there for you. Let me look through the Daily Monitor. The Daily Monitor, Uganda, Kenya agree to no trade barriers. Well, good news for the traders there. And a history of constitutional marking in Uganda. What is that? Well, the Daily Monitor has that for you. And still looking at the Daily Monitor, Nandara Mafabi receives heroic welcome at home. And there is a pictorial there of Nandara Mafabi. Now, the Daily Monitor still has something to do with business for you there. Also, Daily Hub for money, markets, and opportunities. Still in the Daily Monitor, starting 1st September 2025, they tell you only in the Daily Monitor. What is that? That the Daily Monitor will have only for you. You can only know when you get yourself a copy. Now, allow me, please, quickly move to the Daily Nation this morning. And looking through the Daily Nation this morning, Ghosts Paradise. Oh, what a heading there, headline for you. Corruption audit reports routinely expose shady schemes to look at public funds. Still in Tanzania, crisis over county tenders, new jobs. I see William Ruto there, the picture. And still Somalia youth trapped in, that is Libya's trafficking cells. Still in the Daily Nation, there looking at the details of some of the stories there. In the Daily, we see more issues regarding corruption. Now, allow me look at also, I have the Daily Nation. Yes, we've looked through the Daily Monitor as well and the New Vision. So those are the papers that we have been able to get for you this morning. And allow me, we look also through the Gazette briefly. Let's also tap into the Gazette this morning and see what is there for us. In the Gazette today, the Uganda Gazette. Now here there are quite a number of notices. Now we have the Marriage Act notices, the Mining and Mineral Act notices, the Education, Pre-Primary and Primary and Post-Primary Act notices, the Advocates Act notices, the Companies Act notices, the Insolvency Act notices, and the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Regulations notices. We have Green Star Registration Limited notices. We have the Electricity Act notices, the Electoral Commission Act notices, the Police Control of Private Security Organization Regulations notice, the Trademarks Act, alternation of trademark notice there for you, the Trademark Act registration of applications and deed polls and land titles. So interest yourself, get yourself a copy of the Gazette and get to know what concerns you, what is in there for you to know. Now allow me, have a break as we enjoy the song of the day. Keep it with us.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Happy new month, and thank you so much for joining us on UBC TV this lovely Monday, the beginning of yet another month. Well, I don't know how the previous month treated you, but I just know one thing, that it's all about how you position yourself and set your mind. If you're positive, then positivity will help you, will act as a springboard for you to achieve greater in this month. Well, if you're negative and you have so much negativity, you're looking at everything and you see things as impossible, you're giving up and saying, maybe I'll try another year. It is still very early for you to give up. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, and I just want to tell you, do not give up. Well, one would say we've come to the end of the previous month and we are in a new month today. But so much has happened last month, and the major thing has been the political highlights of last month. Now, we had the NRM hold their delegates conference, and of course there were a number of elections, primaries, prior to the NRM. Now, winners are jubilating as losers are still having a number of issues to sort out. As we speak, there are some of the losers or who lost in these various elective positions. Some are threatening to cross to the opposition, others are threatening to come as independents. But just as we thought we were done and dusted with the NRM, because even the Entrepreneur League, we saw the party chairperson and the deputy speaker of parliament, Honorable Thomas Twayebwa, and the chairman of the party, that is President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, meet these gentlemen. I saw Philip Kakulu, I saw King Caesar, I saw Haji Hassan Basajja Balaba, meet them, and they came to a conclusion for the good of their party that Hassan Basajja Balaba does take over the Entrepreneurship League chair there. So as the dust is settling in the NRM, I must say, and now we wait to see what the Committee of Eminent Persons is going to do to ensure they bring hearts together, amend the people. Now comes in the National Unity Platform. As we entered the weekend, social media was awash by losers and winners in the National Unity Platform. I don't want to call it internal elections, because theirs is about voting. It is not a democratic process of people lining up or people casting votes. They have a committee of eminent and people, according to them, who handle this. Now, a number of people lost, and the public thought that these were deserving of that ticket. I was following a number of people. One, I'll use the names that are very common to them. That is Bobby Giant. Wow, that huge man in the National Unity Platform. Many thought that, yes, he would take the mayor seat for Ginger City. But unfortunately, that wasn't what the vetting committee found out. So there was quite a number of disappointment. Many to those who claim to be foot soldiers in the party. They believe that this is a person who has done so much, and denying him a ticket wasn't that very good. Now there's some dust in there. Now also come to Sauda Madada. Many know this lady who has been vocal.
Loved ones, eh? Bye, Gino, bye.
Good decision. You see, that is being responsible, Sim. Hey, by the way, before you go, just give me at least a 50K.
Mpox is real. Protect yourself and the loved ones. Stay safe and do not indulge in casual sex or other risky behaviors. For more information
About Mpox,
call the Ministry of Health toll-free line on 0800 1066 or send a free SMS to YouReport on 8500. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health
with support from UNICEF, WHO,
and its partners.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and to comply with is through engagement. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Who has paid the excise duty on this water is not the supermarket which has sold you this bottle at 1,000. It's not the business. It is the man who is going to drink this water. We strongly believe that it will only be through such constructive engagement that we'll be able to broaden our tax base and build our country together.
Buza Commissioner. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
The government's core mandate is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of the roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project. That answers somebody's question.
The Front Bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
Why do you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers? You bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport.
If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo, Beidondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and to comply with is through engagement. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Who has paid the excise duty on this water is not the supermarket which has sold you this bottle at 1,000. It's not the business, it is the man who is going to drink this water. We strongly believe that it will only be through such constructive engagement that we'll be able to broaden our tax base and build our country together.
Buza Commissioner. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. Now, welcome to the newsreel this morning, where earlier on I talked about how the month that we've just ended was dominated by political activity, more so by the NRM party, where they had a number of elections, and of course they crowned it all with their delegates conference that one would say was a success at Kololo ceremonial grounds. Now, joining me on set, I have the deputy spokesperson of the ruling party, Rogers Mulindwa, with whom we are going to be looking at the aftermath of this national delegates conference of the party. Good morning, Rogers, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning to you, and good morning UBC, and good morning Uganda.
Now, to begin with, Rogers, you just concluded your delegates conference. Please paint for us a picture how things evolved and what were the success.
Thank you. We had, first of all, we concluded the exercise very well. I can say that 98% of the elections are done. Because we still have the youth elections for representatives in parliament for our regions, which we shall have to conduct any time. You are aware that the entrepreneurs, we had the elections, we don't have the elections, but there was consensus later on, and that one is another election sorted. So I can proudly say that we organized a very successful elections. We had a very successful conference. We were able to have all the targeted numbers. The accreditation was done very well in Nakawa. People were accredited. We don't have so many of the challenges we've been having before. The meetings took place from the Central Executive Committee, which sat in Entebbe, the National Executive Council, which sat in Entebbe, the SIG meetings that sat in Kololo, and then the National Delegates Conference that sat in Kololo for 2 days. So we had a full week of party activities, and everybody saw that Kampala went yellow. I'm aware that some people were saying we no longer have people, but I think this one they saw for themselves that we are a mass party. So we didn't have, I only noticed that I've been informed that we had some of our colleagues that had, our delegates that had an accident on their way back to West Nile, and our sympathies to them and quick recovery to those that got injured. Then I also am aware that full figure, I think, was involved, was beaten up by some thugs. I don't know who these were, police will let us know. And we also wish her a quick recovery. But generally, we can say the conference went on very well. The resolutions we wanted, we got them. The national chairperson had the approval that for him to be the national chairperson of the party, and at the same time, the flag bearer for presidential elections in 2026. We also have the SEC members now complete, apart from one position which is still contested. That's the chairperson of the Youth League, and we shall wait for the guidance from the tribunal. All the others, well, some new faces, that was the choice of the voters. We may have nothing to talk about it.
Okay, now let's look at some of the issues that were highlighted in this election. The issue of money, bribery, and also the fact that there was so much money spent by some of the contestants. And many senior party officials said this is going to kill what you call the mass party.
Well, I must confess that there was use of money, but I must also tell our viewers that there is no election where you may avoid to use money. But excessive use of money is what we condemn.
Yes.
But every candidate in that race must have spent money in one or the other, either to buy water for people, for the vote, for the delegates. Maybe some of them transported them, I don't know. Others had handouts. But excessive use of money in an election is what we condemn. However, I cannot lower the levels of our delegates, the thinking that the money guided the choice of the election. Because I would give you an example of Ofono Pondo. I don't think Mr. Opondo is a tycoon. I don't think he has a lot of money. He's the kind of a person who would go to meet delegates, and delegates say, and he says, Banang, me, I don't have the money, but me, I'm Opondo. I have sacrificed time for this party. I have worked for you. And people clap for him. And at the end, they voted him. So, if it was to be money, then the story would have been different. There are even other candidates that lost, but looked financially better off than those that went through. But also, you can also look at the case of the entrepreneurs. All these were financial tycoons. People had to have their money. Jai Tana is not a joker. Bakuru is not a joker. Basaja Walaba is not a joker. King Caesar is not a joker. They have their money. But I don't think it's the money that helps them to come together. Basaja Walaba, I'm very sure, did not promise anything to King Caesar, because King Caesar anything from Basaja Walaba. Maybe Tana cannot also take, maybe Kakuru cannot also take. But they sat on round table and they agreed that yes, this can happen, but you can also proceed with this. The allegation that people were using money, I'm told some people were saying they ferried the delegates to Cairo. I don't know what activity would one go for in Cairo, really. Others said they took them to Dar es Salaam, others to Nairobi. When we met in the National Executive Council, the National Chairperson guided that these are going to be investigated. Now, the same people that we are fronting these allegations are the same people that sat under the same roof again a few days later and agreed that the person they were choosing is the best person to represent to chair the entrepreneurs committee. So you could see that some of these may not have been true. But we must continue making an appeal to our people that let's avoid excessive use of money, because that is bribery, that is corruption. As the national chairperson has always guided us, we must listen to him in this area.
Yes, you talked about Ofono Pondo's victory. You want to congratulate him. You talked about Kakuru, King Caesar, Basaja Walaba sitting and agreeing. And Sanjitana, that is of course the deputy speaker between the two there and His Excellency. Now, let's also dive deeper into this. We've seen some positions where you, in the interest of the party, would have wanted these people to sit together, have a dialogue, then decide who goes ahead. But this wasn't possible. What is the secret that made it possible for the Entrepreneurship League?
Of course, I know when people talk about where things did not work out, I have had some selfish minds accusing the president that she did not pay enough attention to the issue of Right Honorable Kadaga and Right Honorable Anita Mong. These are really false accusations. The president or our national chairperson does not force people out of the race. But as a fountain of honor, or as the father of the party, he can guide and say, guys, look here. We have so many positions in this party, in the government. If you don't go through here, you can go through the other. You can be appointed elsewhere.
So we can say that maybe the Entrepreneurship League, it is in my father's house, there are many places. If you do not qualify for this, there is something awaiting for you.
That could be one of them. It can be, but it can also be that one person at a go. Okay? But there was a situation where people could not accept to listen to the president in that way. And they said, no, let's go to an election. Which was not bad. An election, because these delegates came to perform, one of those activities was to conduct that election. So for them to line up and decide the leaders. And you must have seen that the elections decided the people they wanted and the people went into the office. Now, when we come to this one of entrepreneurs, I think after all what we had gone through, after all the counter accusations here and there, these gentlemen, four of them, I think sat under one roof before even they went to Muzay and said, no, I think we must do something. And I must give credit to Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Taegwa. I'm sure he must have started the story and then led them into the house. And then they spoke to them and they listened. That is the gesture we want within our party. Whether I can make a prime minister of this country, I can make a minister, I can make any position. But I can also be comfortable where I am. It shouldn't be a do or die. That if I'm not here, then it is a trouble. If you are not here, things will not work out for this. No. We must accept that we are all good, but it's one person at a moment. So now Alhaji Hassan Basajabalaba will be the chairperson. And I saw my chairman, the national chairman, explaining that legal process will be undertaken so that we finalize that. But on paperwork, they all agreed. But even if you are not given a position there, elsewhere, you can still remain a relevant member of your party. You don't need to be in a leadership position to serve your party. By the way, sometimes you have many people outside the structures that do more than even those in the structures when it comes to helping our people, the members of the NRA party.
Now, Rogers Mulindwa, you said it's not about money, that these people injected a lot of money, yes, to take these positions. In one way or the other, you were watering down the fact that there was huge bribery and excessive use of money. But what made people make this a do or die? What good is there for sake? You know, why would someone invest monies just to be a SEC member? I want to quote the Deputy Speaker of Parliament. He is on camera saying, why would someone invest 2 billion for a SEC position? Help the public understand. You're the deputy spokesperson of this mass party, as you claim. What is there that I must invest? What is there that must be a do or die? People fighting, people verbal artillery, all that commitment. What is there that this are yearning for?
In the first place, I will say it again, that the money did not guide direct who should be elected. Otherwise, Mr. Kalangwa would have been maybe a winner in the central region. Because everybody was saying, he has done this for me, he has done this for me, which I can't confirm anyway. But I was hearing that was one of the big spenders.
Would we say Honorable Kasoro wasn't a person who also had good monies to spend in this?
The way I hear people talking is like he didn't spend as much as the others. But now, what is there? When you look at the structure of NRM, the most top organ is what we call the National Delegates Conference. That's an organ that can reverse the decisions of all the organs below, and their decision is final. Then it is followed. That's why we have about 15,000 people. But that one is followed by the National Executive Council, which has about 1,200. And then there is a Central Executive Committee. Those three C's, the committee, NEC, the council, NEC, the conference, the National Delegates Conference. Now, when you look at SEC, about 30 plus people, chaired by the national chairperson, you would compare it, if it was a company, you would say this is the board of directors that is sit and execute mandates or activities on a day-to-day basis. Therefore, they do more of the party work. Because the National Delegates Conference will sit 5 years, once in every 5 years. NEC will sit 2 in every 5 years. But SEC can even choose to sit monthly, depending on the needs that are on the table. This SEC committee, therefore, has more work to do, and people have an opportunity for their voices to be heard on a smaller table as they take decisions that guide the operations of the party. Even if it means we want to say who should be the Speaker of the Parliament, the names will come to SEC. Who are the chairpersons of the committees of Parliament? This will come to SEC. If there are any decisions in the SEC. So I think that's what people are looking for, that I must be part of the smaller group that takes binding decisions for the good of this party. There is nothing much. There is no money. And when you look at these people who are coming, really, they are not looking for money. I don't think Right Honorable Anita Mong is looking for money instead.
Would you rule out proximity to power? And of course, that comes with a number of advantages.
But which advantages? The advantages are not financial.
Regularly meeting His Excellency. You know,
That's one of them.
at a smaller table, and of course, you have so much to discuss for the party, but also for you as a person. He's a man that many hunt for and can never find.
That's what I can agree, that it gives you an advantage to sit with the Fountain of Honor regularly. You have a discussion, he listens to you, he guides, you can as well also give in your input. That's what actually happens with the sex. But also, maybe another one I've forgotten to tell you is that when people still believe that this party still has life ahead, that the party is still around. Otherwise, if NRM was doing badly, many people would not be running to contest under NRM. But because they know the party is still around, everybody would like to be part of the successful story. So he wants to make that contribution. Because we are still around, that's one fact. And therefore, many people would say, I must also be part of this story.
Now, you still being around, Rogers Mulindwa, let's look at some of the losers who we believe are strongholds in some areas, because we know after this, you're going to a national election where you're going to be versing candidates from other political parties as well. But there are assumptions of some people who lost, and they believe it could be bribery, which you've ruled out, but also irregularities, technical knockouts. And they don't seem that they will be more devoted to the party as they have been, neither look for support for these regions. What are your plans for such uncertainties that may befall the party?
Of course, I know what somebody feels when he or she has lost an election. But for us to end that story, it must begin by the winners. Those who won should shorten their celebration and reach out to the losers, sit with them, and try to persuade them to work together. But if we continue throwing stones at them, insulting them, talking bad about them, then we are distancing them away from us. The winners have a role to play. This role should not be left to the national chairperson. That the chairperson will call them and talk. No. You have a reason to sit down with those people, discuss a few things, take a cup of tea, and forge your way forward so that you can work together. However, on top of that, the national chairperson has also guided. There will be reconciliation at different levels. Alhaji Moses Shigongo, as first national vice chairperson, will lead this exercise, I've been told. So reconciliation, not only with what came out of the national conference, but even in the elections below. People still having issues. You defeated me, others have announced they want to go independent, others have threatened to close to other parties, but these are things we are going to handle. One of the beauty of NRM is that even when we have internal issues, we have always found a solution. Well, we have lost some members to other parties, but even where they have gone, they have not been successful. Okay? But we have always been able to find solutions to our problems. That's why, with these numbers we have in Parliament, for instance, over 300 MPs, we have remained a unit. We are not like a NUP that had 57. And within a period of 4 years, they are going to split into the second part of DF. We are not like FDC with 30 members. But within 9 years, they have already split into another party called the PPF and the other PFF something. So we shall still proceed with this kind of internal arrangement for ourselves. We are going to start rolling out this exercise of reconciliation. And these members that lost, especially at a senior level of the Central Executive Committee, my appeal would be that they lead by a good example. I liked what the Honorable Flight Captain Michael Mukula did and said, okay, because of what I see, I step down. That was a fatherly decision, and I liked it.
Well, he didn't. Rogers Mulindwa, he gave his reasons for stepping down. Let me just quote my line minister at the delegates conference, who came out and rightly said, Honorable, he spoke before even the president, that said, this election is a sham. You know, people didn't step down because they were willingly, but some never wanted to contest in what they termed as a process that was marked with a lot of irregularities, a process that they had surely seen that was not going to be fair and just to them. So they just chose, let me not participate in this.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They chose not to participate. But and I want to tell you, when the national chairperson, when that time comes, there are those 5 other positions on set where the national chairperson nominates people. I'm sure we could be having 2, 1, 3, but I'm sure there will be somebody that will be nominated. You know, there are those slots that are occupied by Right Honorable Kankana Uganda, General Tafire, Honorable the State Minister for Defense in charge of veterans in West Nile. There are those special nominees. I know they may pick some of them to be there because we need each other. We still need them. We appreciate their contribution. So whatever, whether they gave reasons that they were stepping down or doing what, but at least the gesture was also good that we shouldn't escalate the conflict. Otherwise, if they had not stepped down, that would have meant that the fight would have continued. But you know, when you say, okay, I bow out of the rest, and in favor of this, or let the rest continue. Well, to me that was a good gesture. Now, the issue is, can we listen to their grievances and then we try to find a solution? We shall continue learning more and more. One of the reasons why we came up with the lining up is because we are taking lessons from the other normal way of conducting elections that people think is the normal way. But every time we could hear ballot stuffing. Ballot stuffing. People have been caught here with ballot papers in the car. People have been and we said, guys, this is too much. Can we go now as a way of fighting corruption? If
finally, Rogers, in the interest of time, we see that the current SEC, if all positions are filled, it is only the party chair who came unopposed and the first vice chairperson, Haj Moses Chigongo, both who came unopposed. I stand to be corrected, but it seems the rest are going to be new members. What does this mean for the party?
This simply means there was democracy at play. Our party members decided, and that's exactly what their work is.
Democracy when only those that are unopposed returned?
If they return you, they return you. If they don't, they don't. It's their mandate. So the delegate conference decided on these leaders. We just congratulate them and we wish them a successful time in office. They are new people. Maybe they are also coming something new. But this one also tells us that when we get into office, we also need to do a little bit more because these voters, you see, they also keep watching our performance from a distance.
Well, I must let you go. I would have loved if we had more time to dig deeper into the affairs of the party, that is the mass party of which you're the deputy spokesperson. I'll just give you a second or two for your parting shot. Please use that.
Yes, to all our party members, let's not engage too much into internal bickering. Let's stop the fights inside. Let's be united. Nyinyi Waswahili mmejua tumesema umoja ni nguvu. Unity is power. This is what we need in NRM as we prepare for the general election. We are going into local council nominations by the National Electoral Commission. I think Wednesday this week. Can we prepare for this and support our flag bearers? We have made sure we have a candidate for every elective position. Support them. At the end of the day, we want to see NRM winning largely across the country.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Rogers Murindwa, who is the deputy spokesperson of the ruling party, NRM. We've been looking at the aftermath of the National Delegates Conference that was held at Koro Ceremonial Grounds, where we saw a number of SEC positions filled, and now we wait only to see that is the Youth League elections, and of course that will also see the various regional chairpersons. Well, we'll now have a break. Zakia Lucky will be taking us through Uganda and the Tourism Express, and later we'll return with business, and of course the agenda is online for you also. Keep it with us. We'll return shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo, Beidundolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Revered as the patrons of the wild, my horn stood tall, announcing my presence among Africa's Big Five. Yet, with all my strength, I struggled to survive. Then Uganda Wildlife Authority gave us something, a safe home at the Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. And here we begin to thrive again. Today, we are 48 members strong, with 17 cows, ready to take our unique story into the future. This is your lifetime opportunity to name a rhino, and with it, find the conservation efforts that keep our story alive. For more information, visit our website, www.ugandawildlifeauthority.org.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Brought to you by
Uniquely ours. Explore Uganda.
Rise and shine. It is a wonderful morning. My name is Zakia Lucky and welcome to the GMU Tourism Express. I want to start with the good news in the tourism sector. The Uganda Airlines launched a direct flight to the UK that will be doing 4 times a week, and it is starting on the 18th of May. You should be excited for that one. Previously, we talked about religious tourism, but that was dedicated to the Muslims. And this is the 3rd week of the Lent period, and this is being dedicated to the Christians. We are coming to you from Namugongo Shrine. Most of you know about this for the Uganda Matters particularly, but today you are going to be learning so much more about this place. It's not just about the Uganda Matters, but you're yet to get to understand what else happens here. Let's unveil it to you today. So we are inside of the shrine and we are at the very spot where Charles Rwanga was killed. But Ben is going to be taking us to the history about this particular area and give us even more information about this place. We're happy to have you, Mr. Ben, on the show.
Thank you so much. My name is Ben Tenywa, the Chief Pilgrim's Guide at the Uganda Matters Catholic Shrine Namugongo. Now we are inside here in the Uganda Matters Shrine. Where we are standing is the exact spot where they burnt Charles Rwanga, the leader of the Uganda Matters. It was around midday on Thursday, 3rd of June, 1886. A man known as Senkole tied Charles Rwanga here and burnt him from feet to head. But he told him, "You are burning me, but it is as if you are pouring water over my body. You have not even tied me properly. Leave me, I tie myself so that you can burn me. Go and tell the king that he has killed me for nothing. Let him repent. If he does not repent, I'll be the accuser before God." People came and took the ash. When the ash was over, they took the soil. When the soil was over, they started digging. A very big hole developed. They covered and put the altar. This is where bishops and priests celebrate Mass. This is a holy place. The painting in the background, you see, it is showing that the Uganda Matters are in heaven. They have got palms, signs of victory. They have conquered the death. Now they are in heaven praising Jesus and God. And down is the Blessed Sacrament. That's where they keep the body of Jesus in the form of bread and wine, which they give the faithful when they come for the communion. And all those you see in the stained glasses, those are the Uganda Matters. Inside here is mahogany, outside copper sheets. The seating capacity of this shrine is 1,000. We have 4 masses every day, 5 masses every Sunday. The day we remember the Uganda Matters, over 1 million people come, masses in the compound. This church, this shrine, was started in 1967 and completed in 1975. It is a round shrine, it is a round church depicting African traditional hats and stands on 22 pillars representing the 22 Catholic Martyrs. Round showing African hats. So we pray here, the Day of the Martyrs on the lake. There where you see white men, that is showing the arrival of the white fathers, Father Simeon Ludel and Brother Amanis. Those are the people who evangelized the Uganda Martyrs. They were not killed. They wrote whatever we know. There you see Charles Rwanga baptizing Kizito. Kizito was the youngest. They killed him when he was only 14 years. He was not baptized by the missionaries. So now it was Charles Rwanga who baptized Kizito just shortly after the condemnation. And I'm telling him, younger man, don't lose faith. We are going in heaven. Those 2 martyrs are popular. Kizito, because he was the youngest. Charles Rwanga, because he was the leader. Now there you see, near the door there you see the Pope. The Pope, Pope the Sixth, was just lying down here under the altar. In the whole of Africa, the first Pope came to Uganda. He was here at Namugongo on the 2nd of August, 1969. Pope the Sixth. In all of Africa, he first came to Uganda. And he came here at Namugongo. John Paul II also was here at Namugongo on the 7th of February, 1993. Pope Francis also came. on 28th of November 2015. And the last painting there is showing the first cardinal of Uganda, the late Emmanuel Nsubuga. He was made a cardinal in 1976 and he died in 1991. Now there you see the Kabaka, the king. The king was sitting on the skin of a leopard, showing his powers. Kabaka Mwanga, King Mwanga, the one who killed the Uganda martyrs. He was just sitting on the skin of a leopard, sitting on his throne, passing a death sentence. Take them away, go and burn them. Take them to Namugongo and burn them. Now the last painting there is showing canonization. The Uganda martyrs are all saints. They were proclaimed the saints on 18th of October 1964.
I'll be waiting you to join me on the second episode as we continue to exhaust religious tourism with the Catholics. We'll be starting exactly see what's also there regarding the Uganda matters.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome back from Tourism Express. Now we look at what the world of business has for us this morning, well, including the business stories and the forex as well. We begin with Uganda National Association of Builders, Suppliers and Engineers plus Contractors has started training to empower women in the construction and infrastructure with the digital upgrade. Now, this is a wide or national-wide initiative on bridging the digital divide in women in construction and infrastructure, which points towards inclusion and innovation in the construction industry, offering specialized treatment in cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. Still looking at our business stories, in Kagadi, over 1,000 women have been trained in skills development and mindset change to boost empowerment and community transformation. The three-day women's conference at St. Mary's Kagadi Catholic Parish drew participants from 8 districts in Bunyoro sub-region. Closing the event, Reverend Father Dominic Ndugwa, who represented Bishop Vincent Chirabo, called on government to support the planned decisions by women to ensure their skills and development in the way they do their things. The Hadi coordinator Mary Chaterekera said the training focused on mindset change, skills development and home management. The conference ended with fundraising for the center, collecting over 5 million shillings. Now, away from the business stories this morning, let's look at what the Forex has for us this morning. So in case you're going to buy or you're selling, well, this is what we have. Now, looking at the United States dollar, buying was at 3,547.14 and selling was at 3,557.14. Now, by midday, as of Friday, it was at 3,545.09 and was selling at 3,555.09. Now, the Great Britain pound closed the day at 4,781.55 and it was selling at 4,795.04. The euro closing was at 4,132.84 and selling was at 4,144.51. Now the Kenyan shilling was at 27.42. Buying and selling was at 27.50. Now the Tanzanian shilling was at 1.41 and still selling was at 1.41. Now we look at, that is the South African currency there. It was at 199.95 and selling was at 200.51. Now in case you're doing business and you want to know what the various currencies, what you get of what you have, well, that is it from the currency this morning. We'll be taking a short break, and when we return, we will have the agenda. Keep it with us.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo, Beidondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
The government's commanded is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of a roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project. That answers somebody's question.
The front bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
Why do you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers? You bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport.
If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
Revered as the patrons of the wild, my horn stood tall, announcing my presence among Africa's big five. Yet, with all my strength, I struggled to survive. Then Uganda Wildlife Authority gave us something, a safe home at the Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. And here we began to thrive again. Today, we are 48 members strong, with 17 cows, ready to take our unique story into the future. This is your lifetime opportunity to name a rhino, and with it, find the conservation efforts that keep our story alive. For more information, visit our website, www.ugandawildlifeauthority.org.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and to comply with is through engagement. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Who has paid the excise duty on this water is not the supermarket which has sold you this bottle at 1,000. It's not the business. It is the man who is going to drink this water. We strongly believe that it will only be through such constructive engagement that we'll be able to broaden our tax base and build our country together.
Buza Kamiso now. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvest in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geography we're taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
My friend Baka was found to be positive for Mpox at his old age. He needs our prayers. By the way, Timo, did you know that Mpox-related deaths occur among people with underlying conditions like HIV/AIDS, diabetes, malnutrition, and other old age-related illnesses?
Of late, I've not been following Mpox issues. I thought it wasn't that serious. So, are you saying that as long as one has any underlying condition and feels unwell, just run to the hospital?
Yes! You do not have to wait. If you have any of the signs and symptoms like a body rash, a fever, headache, and body weakness, visit your nearest health facility immediately. We do not have to take any chances, my brother.
We need to immediately inform our peers in the club to be careful.
You see, with Mpox, the magic is in getting treatment early. Those who have suffered severe disease, they wasted a lot of time either treating themselves or ignoring the disease.
Save your life. Seek treatment early. Only from professional health workers whenever you feel unwell. For more information about Mpox, call the Ministry of Health toll-free line on 0800 1066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health Uganda with support from UNICEF, WHO and its partners.
Amina gange ndetubona Kiranda Amina mu company Air WIB Uganda Limited ndi member. Wemba member company eno weyeida twalinga tutuli bulungi nga abakyala abe waka. Abakyala abe waka tuemera kubaami baife nga bonkana abajamu nanda nga twidi nti abakyala tebakozesa ki nanda. UN Women weyeida yatuteekateeka yatwegesa okulunda engege nga abakyala. Twatandika beno okudulunda n'okudirisa n'okolaki. Twafunamu nga abakyala aba Bugiri district. Abakyala ba Bugiri district sofa tuli abakyala 14 abakola project eya WIB. Abakyala 14 twayawula mu sectors. Mulimu abakyala ba production, abaliisa, mwaba abakyala ba validation, abongera engege omutindo bayongerako omutindo. Twaba n'abakyala ba harvesting, aba harvestinga. Twaba n'abakyala abakola aba marketing. Sector dona diri trained era didi kyedikola ki kyedikola. Project eno tufunyemu nga abakyala. Government yaife ne Uganda njebaza okujja kujanga batulingirira mu nga abakyala abana Uganda. Eri kujanga eturobingira ebibiina bingi. We have UWEB, baleta parish development model. We have Myoga. Byona biri kwida muki mu bakyala oba mu bantu abaki aba Uganda.
Our program of poverty eradication is a must. We want everybody to be involved.
Through the parish development model, Ugandans are starting small but impactful projects to improve their livelihoods.
When we give 1 million, we know it's not enough to do many things, but it's a starting point.
I'm a PDM beneficiary, a farmer. Your Excellency, I was given 1 million Uganda shillings from Kobil Kawo PDM Circle. Your Excellency, I got 20 bunches from my small piece of land sold, got 400,000, put in the PDM farm, Your Excellency, in the PDM money, Your Excellency, I bought a cow of 1,400,000.
In 1 year, 100 families in the parish you get. In 5 years, 500 families would have got.
We were the first people to receive money from Nakaprepret. I received $1 million. I rented 4 acres of land and I was able to harvest 14 bags.
So really this 1 million is enabling somebody to start something. Yes, and we don't want to give too much money to one person because we have got very many people to cover.
The parish development model empowers the people, focusing on lifting up the masses and creating opportunities that ensure prosperity for all. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
The circle started
5 years back with 15 members who were part of the executive, and we managed to use the same 15 members to mobilize the youth and come in to make the 16 associations. So each member took a thought of gathering, mobilizing the 15 people to make associations. So the circle was established. We happened to have 229 members that qualified for 30 millions, which we got in 2021. We used the 30 millions from the presidential initiative to buy the 6 motorcycles, which was a small number to benefit the 229 members, but we managed to use it. The 6 border helped us to go under saving culture. We managed to group our members into 15-15 for saving culture. So the saving culture is 15 groups. They could get 12,000 per day, which 12,000 at the end of the month manages to buy 1 motorcycle. That 1 motorcycle is shared among the 15, so they vote who to take it. The 15 kept on until the 15 months. Every member had to get 1 motorcycle with saving culture. As I say, we managed to get 84 motorcycles from today's report. On daily, a rider, you move Kawempe, Nakawaru, Makinde, you Kampala Metropolitan, and at the end of the day, you have 50,000. That one, we call it average day. There is a time you make 100, that is, we call it the golden day. So most of our members came without anything to use or to support their family. So we helped them by giving them the border as one of the job opportunity the circle is offering to the community.
Tunso kwebaza President Museveni olw'enkola eno gyatutereddewo otukulaakulanya nga najja wano mu ssaka eno nga sirina piki era ndi omu ku bammemba abaasooka okufuna no piki. Kati abavubuka abali bateesobola kugula piki wano kiba kyangu. Ogula buguzi migabo $5,000 ng'ofuna piki ng'otandika obulamu. Ate ku layisi tuli bangi. Kwa omuntu tolina miliyoni 5 zigula mpya 5 kitundu. Oba oguze emigabo ate nga gijjo n'otandikira okwo. Tolaba nti oba ofunyemu. Abantu abali batalina mirimu bagifuna. Guno mulimu nno gwe nnyini tugufunyemu singa simaanyi ga mulimu guno kitegeeza nandibadde sikola ki sina ngeri kigenyiza bikwasaganya abaana basoma era muki okulya byonna okuba kwesanyusaamu era kiki era ngutwala ng'ensonga enkulu kubanga ofunamu gubinkolera goge mazima gubinkolera ddala bulungi mukadde tajjula maama gwe nninawe yekka oba oli awo akasimu ate kino ekiri mugira nga n'oteekayo n'omusingi ate kino egamba tosobola kulwamu ki sente.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Exactly 5 past the top of the hour. Thank you so much for being with us. It is now time for the agenda. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, and this morning we are going to be looking at promoting literacy in the digital era. Promoting literacy in the digital era. And I'm not alone to discuss this. I have Harriet Akelo, who is from the Department of Community Development and Literacy at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. You're most welcome, Madam Harriet.
Thank you so much.
It is a pleasure having you this morning.
Thank you so much.
Now, you're in charge of community development and literacy in the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. First, please help my viewer understand, what is your responsibility? What does this department do?
Okay. The Department of Community Development and Literacy is mandated for mobilization and empowerment of communities for development. And as you know, the community is not simple, but it is heterogeneous. It has composed of so many people. It is composed of children, it's composed of youth, it is adolescent girl, it's composed of older persons, men, women, persons with disabilities. All these, the department is responsible to mobilize them. And one person who is also very important in the community is a person who is short of literacy and numeracy skills. And that is why we are here today.
Okay, now that is the person you are talking about.
Yes.
So how do you carry out your work? Which methodology do you use?
Okay, to impart the literacy and numeracy skills on these individuals who require them, we are using a method which is called REFLECT, Regenerated Frarian Literacy for Empowerment and Transformation. And under this approach, we look at the needs of the person who is now termed as illiterate, because they are faced with a number of challenges, and the most important challenge, or the most impactful challenge in their life, is that one of lack of access to information, because they are barred. The literacy is a barrier. And so we identify challenges such as lack of access to information and other challenges which are now affecting him in his household or him as an individual. For example, he may be faced with gender-based violence, he might be faced with food insecurity or nutrition insecurity, he might be faced with diseases, he might be faced with low crop yield. So we put all these into topics and we begin to teach him how to read and write around these problems. So at the end of the day, when the person is learning the alphabet, he's learning the alphabet within those problems.
Now, this brings me also interest to know, how are the literacy levels of our country? How are we standing? How big is this problem?
According to the recent UBOS data, the literacy rate is standing at 73%.
Of our population?
Yes, our population, meaning we have about 27% who are considered not literate. And population-wise, this translates to about 12 million Ugandans who require this kind of
12
skills.
million Ugandans cannot read and cannot write?
Yes, cannot read and cannot write.
Oh, viewer, that is very... Oh, pardon me. That is very shocking in this 21st century. Now, here comes in promoting literacy in the digital era. Now, before it was about you holding books or paper and pen, but now here we are doing with our phones, we are talking about gadgets. If the problem has been people cannot read and write, now here comes in gadgets that have to be operated by someone who can read and write. Now, isn't this making even the problem worse?
Yes, it is true, like you say, that the problem is getting worse, or the problem is really worse, because this illiteracy, it blocks an individual from so many things. And that's why the individual will be faced with a lot of challenges, because he is not able to access information in time. And for example, before we talk about the digital era, access to maybe technology for agriculture to improve agriculture, or maybe access to medical information. For example, an illiterate woman is supposed to take the child back for immunization on such and such a date, and he's not able. Or the doctor has prescribed that give this child half of the tablet, and the person is not able.
So shake well before use.
Yes, shake well before use.
The baby.
Exactly. And the mother shakes the baby. So in this kind of situation, when this digitalization set in, it also met the challenge of the barrier. Cannot access these 12 million Ugandans. And as you're aware, a lot of information is now being transmitted to the people, to the community, using this digital. For example, the key one are smartphones or cell phones or telephones and computer. If you want to access information, maybe you want to do research or want to access any information, and even news, which is coming from UBC or the other media houses, it is very difficult for a person who is illiterate to access it. And sometimes they are tempted to take the phone to somebody to read for them. And this one now becomes more complex if it is a message which is reading money being sent by the children, maybe who are working in Kampala or abroad. And maybe it is a bank alert. So they are facing a lot of challenges. And that is why this year we are commemorating the International Literacy Day under that theme, promoting literacy in the digital area. It should now be the work for everybody. It should become an urgent matter because they are losing a lot of information, money, support, remittances, and others.
I just look at a person, how if they had an opportunity and their daughter said, come visit me in the United States, how would they make it when even getting a passport, everything has been put online? You go to portals, and if even those that can read have challenges, then what about that person who can't read? Now, going back to this number, 12 million Ugandans, why do we still have this huge number? You work in communities of people who can neither read nor can write.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, illiteracy is just like poverty. It's cyclical in nature. And a household which is headed by an illiterate parent or which is composed of people who are illiterate will always produce more illiterate children. And because they do not understand the importance of child education, you find out that most of the time their children will drop out. And also UBOS, in one of their studies, they correlated this illiteracy and poverty. And actually globally it is known that most of the households which are illiterate, they compose the poverty households or the poor households. And so such a household which is really poor, the children are most likely going to drop out. Then the other thing is preference for maybe send a boy to school and leave the girl. And such cultural norms, beliefs and practices are being hosted by these people who are illiterate. And because of this illiteracy, they tend to be more of ignorant. And not intentional, but it's because they are not aware. That is the reason why we have to fight this illiteracy.
Now let's look at the government scheme of free education. How has it helped?
Yes, the government scheme of free education under universal primary education and universal secondary education has helped in a way. Especially if it's a community which is organized, the local leadership, the elders around, they value education, maybe they have a bylaw whereby they do not encourage children to be at home during the school, when the school is running, not during holidays. So coupled with that, some of the children have made their way even when they are from illiterate parents. They have made their way to school. And also, if you look at the poverty, inability to pay the school fees, this free education initiative of government has also helped. And we encourage them to take up this opportunity. And like I told you, that learning is problem-based. So school dropout is one of the problems which we normally tackle for about 3 months. We look at the causes, why is the child dropping out of school, especially if it is a girl, why is the girl child dropping out of school, and these people are taken through all these causes. By the time they are graduated, they know if we do this, the child will drop out of school, and when they drop out of school, what are the effects, and what are the effects on the girl, what are the effects on the parents, on the household, and the community. So that is how we appreciate and we support them to embrace the government initiative of free education.
Well, that was said. Very challenging that we still have a number of families, despite free education, that the children are not going to school. And Harriet, here I want you to help me understand, and I believe many people out there who have that question at the back of their mind. You find these young kids not going to school, and the school is just a very short distance. But they are comfortable, they're not going to school, the parent is comfortable, they'll tell you, we don't have money, and there is a free school there by government.
So, like I told you, illiteracy is almost equivalent to ignorance. It's because most of these children are coming from these parents who are not literate or semi-literate, and they're also struggling financially because they were bad. They cannot quickly get to work because, first of all, their confidence level is low, so they cannot approach a nearby factory or workplace to ask for a job. And also, when they try to venture into agriculture, they cannot, these people, the experts of agriculture, especially extension staff, they talk about agronomic practices of each crop. You find they are unable to adequately follow these practices. So they end up with low crop yield. And what does that mean? It means they are not going to have money which is beyond subsistence. Because now to spend on education, they see they cannot afford. But also because they are not aware that to come out, to jump out of the situation of perpetual poverty, they have to educate their children. Even if they educated one or two, at least that household would be different.
Yes.
Yes, please.
We are still looking at promoting literacy in the digital era. Now, we have been told, and statistics reveal very well, that we have about 12 million Ugandans who can neither read nor write. So how best do we ensure that these people are able to read and write? Because not being able to read and write is almost making a person, is a disability, if I may term it that way. It may not be a physical, but it's a disability. If you still receive a message and you have to run to somebody to read that message for you, if they are not of good heart, they will steal so much from you. How are you going to operate business? I don't know if those that can't read and write can count money.
Yeah, sometimes they can count, but not adequately. For example, you can go to a shop or which is being attended to by a lady or a gentleman who has shortage of those literacy, basic literacy skills. And for example, you can buy something which is worth of 3,000. You present the 5,000 and expect change of 2,000. But the person might add 2,000 onto the 5,000 that you have given him or her and give it back to you as change. And if you are also equally illiterate, you will walk away with the money, and at the end of the day, they do not grow business. So that is also a problem in the community. So sometimes when they join these literacy classes, you find the levels of literacy and the levels of numeracy are not the same. Because according to UNESCO guidelines of literacy assessment and monitoring plan, before we begin to teach them, we assess to see what level, because due to exposure every day, selling charcoal, selling this, they have some ideas. So when we assess, you can find someone coming at literacy level 0 and maybe at numeracy level 1. So now we now design a training package which will ensure that these people are educated up to a level of P3. And at level of P3, a person should be able to fill the loan interest form or to raise a budget, a shopping budget, or a shopping list, or back to school shopping list, and also maybe budget for the activity, for the items which are required for use, for home use on daily basis. Then in terms of literacy, we expect the person by a level of P3 to be literate enough to write a story, or to read a story, or to read a newspaper and understand it. And if he receives a letter communication, for example, they are going to marry his daughter or his son, and the in-laws have written to him, he should be able to understand that writing and of the date. And for mothers, they should be able to understand the prescription on that medical envelope which is coming from the doctor, and they should also be able to understand the return date. So we train them to that level before we graduate them.
Okay, now you do train them, you go to communities. How do you get these people in rural areas and also in the urban setting? Because these are everywhere. They may be more in the rural areas, but also urban areas. Is it an adult? I just want to know, do you go through the LC system? Do you advertise on television and radio stations? How do you get, if I may call them, your clients?
Yeah, thank you so much. As Minister of Gender, we work with the district local governments And once we reach the district level, we try to disseminate whatever program we have gone with. For example, the current running program, we're calling it Integrated Community Learning for Wealth Creation, but it is a literacy program. But we need you to learn in the community, and the learning is targeted to generating wealth, such that we can also make sure that the household of the people who are non-literate also generate adequate wealth, moving towards the forecasted 20 million per year per household. So when we reach the district, we will now go together with the district, or they can go minus us, because once we disseminate to them, they now use their structures to reach the community. But the key one is the community sensitization and community meeting, which is focused on establishing the literacy classes, and this is done at village level. So after the community members have come and they have accepted that illiteracy is actually a challenge, and they are now set rolling, they begin to record the people who require such skills. And once they are registered, they will also give us again one person who is a volunteer in the community. Preferably, person should be of senior 4 or secondary, post P7 at least. And such a person, we train them for a period of 12 weeks, for 12 days, before they are given charge of such a literacy class. And once the person is trained, then they now begin to roll out the learning materials, which we also develop based on a district. You cannot use a learning material from one district to the next district, because they have challenges and issues which are different. Yes.
How receptive have communities been towards this program?
The communities have been having overwhelming demand towards this program. Actually, it is because the ministry has been constrained on resources to roll out nationwide. But in villages where we are, they are appreciative, and normally the guidelines is we do not want a facilitator to handle more than 30 under this new ICOLO program. But you find people who are registered are like 150. So we now begin to sieve. And where we have a lot of them, we now look for the person who never stepped to school, we give them priority. And someone who dropped out from P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, those ones have to wait. Yes, that's what we do.
Happy that Ugandans are eager, and of course you're having that good reception. Now, focusing deeper into the digital era. It is just not enough for someone to know how to read and write, but it's also very important for the person to know how to operate gadgets, how to use the gadgets effectively. So how are you embedding in the digital era in your trainings?
Yes, during the training, they are encouraged to begin to learn how to use cell phones.
Okay.
To read all those icons which are on the cell phones, the buttons, how to type a message, how to open the box when the message has come in, how to send money, how to receive money, and how to keep the secret code or the PIN code secret, not exposed. So this we introduced early, and then after graduation, we have a center which is called Community Learning Center, which is parish-based. And they continue learning from there, and those activities we now call the post-literacy activities. And at the center, we now introduce them to computer learning. There are centers which have computers, and these people after graduation, they now come and begin to learn how to type and how to send information, how to open internet, and all those things about the computer. And this one takes them 6 months. Yes.
Now let's talk about resources, because this involves resources. And I must say the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development is one of the ministries that looks at a human being from when they are born until when they leave planet Earth and go to the other planet. But also issues of funding, it's not that very funded as it should be funded. Now, how are you able to deliver your work? And do we say that you're doing much, or are you capacitated by the fact that you don't have enough funding?
Thank you for that. So for the Ministry of Gender, we do not implement this program alone as means of gender.
Okay.
But we combine with the local government and then the civil society organizations and the communities. So it is resources which are put together to ensure that these classes run. And the Ministry of Gender also has a budget allocation, and this money is transferred to the local government to support the implementation of literacy of literacy programs. And then we also have a wide range of partners who are supporting the program, and they are numerous. And during the International Literacy Day, which we are going to celebrate on a Monday, this Monday, 8th of September, it will be flooded by representatives from these partners. So we have made these achievements not because of the Ministry of Gender or Uganda government alone, but because of the partners. And so what the Ministry of Gender does is to come up with a strategy, to come up with a policy, to come up with guidelines and this program. But even the program I've just told you about, that integrated community learning for wealth creation program, is going to begin receiving special funds under project, on a project basis from Uganda government to roll out to 77 local governments starting this financial year.
Well, roll out to 77 local governments starting this year. That is a very good move, because then we believe by the end of that quite a number of people will now be able to read and write. But Harriet, that said, let's also look at the digital, because when you said that you didn't give me so much digital apart from them being able to operate the phone, I think now you're talking of this Mapesa. This is the one. But now we've moved to this one. You know, this is where we are now heading. And of course, away from that, we go to, now we are talking about artificial intelligence. There's so much modification than just one being able to read and write and operate a Mapesa. So how are you bringing in, today we have various social media apps that are very important for marketing their goods, that are very important for communication. Even now I see government entities having TikTok pages, you know. We have the X, Instagram, so much is there. So how are you bringing them on board with this, away from that mere basics of receiving money and reading a message?
So like I told you, we begin with basic literacy and numeracy skills, because you cannot operate these gadgets when you do not have the basics. You need to identify what is 2, you need to identify what is 9, you need to identify what is 0. And also you need to do word formation and need to identify a word once it pops up on your phone. So this is where we start from, but along the way during the 24 months, they are introduced to both even the touch phones, the smartphones, and the other one which has button. And also computer now is introduced fully as a course during post-literacy after you have graduated. And if you look at our community learning centers, the ones which have been established, you find there is also a local radio whereby these people come and they can send greetings, they can do announcement, and also the leaders of the sub-county or the parish or the community development officer can quickly mobilize them using these megaphones, which is covering a radius of about 5 kilometers. So they are exposed. The level of exposure to digital materials is adequate, because they also are encouraged to open bank accounts. And now if you again bring in the issue for other government programs, for example, the key one is the PDM. You find money sent direct to their phone. Even if you come to the parish, the headquarters or the community learning center physically, the money is sent to your phone, and you should be able to give back the code, which after receiving the money. Yes, so the level of exposure for digital materials and equipment is adequate.
So how many community development centers are we talking about here that government has fully established?
Right now, the fully functional one, they are 13 in number. But we are rolling out. Once we get resources or partners coming on board, we keep on rolling out and we keep on rolling out. So the fully established ones are 13, And we have developed 4 to a regional center of excellence for learning purposes. And local governments are free to go and learn from them. And at the end of this year, we expect to establish 5 more. And we encourage the local governments who are near by these community learning centers to go and learn from them. And they are free to allocate their local revenues to develop. But the guideline is a center should be at parish level, which is within reach of the villages who are surrounding the parish.
Okay, now this takes me to the International Literacy Day. Please take us through where, when, and actually why.
The National Literacy Day was declared by UNESCO in 1967. And since then, worldwide, nations commemorate this day. But Uganda started to make a nationwide coordination for commemoration of this Literacy Day in around 2002. And since 2002, we have never missed a day. So last year, we were in Kampala, the national venue. And again, this year, we shall be in Kampala national venue. And we are going to go to the Presidential Auditorium. And the International Literacy Day is on...
Where is that?
In the office of the Prime Minister, between office of the President and office of the Prime Minister. There is an auditorium where we are going to commemorate. So all of you are welcome, because we are going to flood that place with our banners, with our messages on literacy in the digital era and others. So this day is this coming Monday. Today is Monday, so it is next Monday.
That is the 8th, if I start.
That is the 8th of September. And we shall be having a national symposium. We shall bring together people from the government, and we expect even the international community, especially those ones who are funding, to take part. And we expect people from local government to come and take part, and the civil society to come and take part in this activity.
What do you intend to achieve out of this day? Gathered at the office of the Prime Minister in an auditorium there. Now, I mean, the people who matter most, I want to believe, are our mothers, our grandparents, maybe our little ones deep in the village. So what, is it just ceremonial, saying yes, we've joined the rest of the world? You know, for us in the news, Uganda today joins the rest of the world to celebrate International Literacy Day. But what are we achieving out of all this?
So the most important thing we want to achieve through commemorating this day is to emphasize the importance of literacy in someone's life, in his household, in his community, and in the nation. Take, for instance, if there was no one literate in Uganda, how would things move? So it is a basic step to moving the nation, to moving that community, to moving the household, to you moving as an individual. And then the other thing we want to pronounce on that day is to advocate that people in their boardrooms should always talk about this literacy. In their sectors, they should know that there is this literacy skill, which is a basic or a prerequisite for them to mobilize people for their different sectors. For example, you're a doctor, and your wish is for that child to survive, but the instructions and the medication to be administered is by the mother who is illiterate.
Yes.
So everyone has a stake. That's why we come together to pronounce this day and to advocate for it. It's also a day when we as stakeholders try to look at what have we achieved during the year and what more should we achieve in the following year. So it's just to give us a push and to jumpstart us every year to this program. And then the last thing is that we are under the UN umbrella, UNESCO, we are supposed to comply. So it is a day which is already declared by United Nations. So the only thing we can do is to commemorate the day. And I want to encourage people that for us, it looks like it is very easy because we went to school when we were young and we were taught. We found ourselves at adulthood when we were already literate. But there are people who missed out. And so these people still require. And they are also important. They are our mothers, they were sisters, they were aunties. And you never know. Tomorrow you might want to move your mother to another country or your father. But then the basic literacy will jeopardize your plan. Thank you.
We are looking at literacy in the digital era. Just to remind you, we have 12 million Ugandans who cannot read nor write, and that is about 27% of our population. So this is a very big issue facing our country, and we must join hands to ensure that we do end this. People must be able to read, we must be able to write, and of course also the accounting there, so that we have the national development move at the speed that we project to get to by vision, that is 2030. Now, Harriet, still looking at these celebrations, how are you going to ensure that the local person gets the message? Because yes, UBC can cover this. I mean, most of the times when you have these days, do you do follow-up? You said you're going to look at some of the achievements. Are there achievements you can allude to that from the previous celebration, since you said you've never missed any? This is what we've achieved. This is how we follow, away from just the mere event. Yes.
Yes, so pertaining to the local person, the auditorium, presidential auditorium's event is just the climax. But starting from 1st of September up to 7th, we call it the Literacy Week. And on this Literacy Week, different organizations and local governments organize their activities to commemorate this day. And this year we have a pre-event in Rakai on 5th, this Friday on 5th. And this is being organized by an organization which is called Unbound. And when we now reach Rakai, we shall be having a literacy run, we shall be having the literacy walk, and we expect all these other organizations to organize theirs, and the local government organize theirs, and to have a literacy run, to have a literacy walk, and people to sit in their council halls and debate about literacy. And then you talked about the achievements. Yes, every year we have something new to communicate. Like last year, we are still developing this program to be supported by government, which we are calling Support to Integrated Community Learning for Wealth Creation. And so this year we have that achievement because it has already been approved as a program under NDP4. So every year we have something to achieve. And this year, I think it is the only year when we are not graduating. But every year we are graduating new cohorts. Yes.
Why this year that you're not graduating?
It's because they have to learn for 2 years, and they were recruited last year, and so next year they will be graduating.
Okay.
Yes.
We are discussing matters of literacy in the digital era, and of course, one of the most important things is to ensure that every Ugandan can read, can write, can count. And this is a vehicle for national transformation, because if people can't read, if you have 12 million of your population, about 27% of our population, that is not good at all. That means these messages we send out, the posters we see, the banners we see, people may find it hard to understand, and it's also time wasting. By the time you find someone to read for you, then explain the message, it becomes totally hard for them. Now, Harriet, still looking at digitalization in this reading. Now, do your programs only target the mature, or are you also concentrating on the young ones within the community?
So, like I told you, the program is called Integrated Community Learning. So that learning is all around, because we link literacy to child welfare. So as we are imparting literacy skills, reading, writing, and the calculations, we now talk about the welfare of a child. What does a child need? For example, under ECD, the child from the mother's womb up to when the child is 8 years, what do they need? So these are the things we spell out when they are during the 2 years they're with us. Then the second thing is we also look at, I told you about school dropout. Who is this who should not drop out from school? So a child should be in school until when they finish the level which is adequate for them to find employment. So we discuss about children issues. What do they need? What does the girl child need? What does the boy child need? What amount of work should you give them? That is no child labor. You need to give them time to be educated. And then you need also to support them with scholastic materials if you do not want them to drop out. Then we also go ahead to look at gender-based violence. Now we are in the married, those who are already married. So we look at what are the causes of the gender-based violence, especially in our community. Is it alcoholism? Is it what? So we now look at these causes, and then we now discuss what are the effects and what are the solutions. So maybe what I could state is that at the end of every topic, the learners have to come up with an action plan. So if we're talking about making the child or ECD, child welfare under ECD arrangement, what can we do in the next 3 months? And we should do it quickly. So maybe you jump up the child nutrition, you give child the love, you give protection, all those things which will make ECD to be successful. Then when you talk about school dropout, what is it that we should do? They also make an action plan, which they implement to ensure that all children who had already dropped out go back to school. And we have seen so many children going back to school, especially children of our learners. And also, copies of this action plan is handed over to the local council, such that it trickles down to the community. That's why in this program we also have a component which is called community development. It starts from the group but trickles down. Then again, the other solution, we look about low crop yield. We're not talking about these elders who are farming. How much can you get with the support from the extension staff for agriculture, these experts? How much can you get from an acre of maize? But if they are getting less, then what should we do? And if you visit the gardens of our learners, they are normally different. And so we want that kind of practice to trickle down to the community. So we target, for you to enroll, you should be 15 years and above. But if you're 15 years, between 15 years to 18 years, you should not be in position to go back to UPE. You know, some of them are already married, they have like 3 children. So those ones, we do not tell them to go back to UPE. We now enroll them, and then we educate them, and they will go to post-literacy activities to specialize in some of the skills, maybe tailoring, maybe carpentry, so that they can be plowed back to the community as useful citizens.
Well, I just want to thank you so much, Harriet Akelo, who is from the Department of Community Development and Literacy at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. It's been very informative, and of course a call for action, as Monday next week, that will be the 8th, we'll be celebrating International Literacy Day. Now I have to let my guest go, but before I let her go, I'm very interested to know the response of men vis-a-vis women. A man who can't read, who can't write, compared to a woman who can't read, who can't write. How are they responding, the male sex here?
Okay, if you look at our groups, you'll find that the male who enroll, they enroll slowly. And out of a group of 30, you can find there are like 6 men. But this is a success, because before we came up with the integrated community learning for wealth creation, whereby we hid the literacy component, we had a functional adult literacy program, whereby the men completely refused to join, because that one had functional adult literacy, and we're calling it FAL. And I'm told in some local languages, the FAL has a meaning. So that's why the Ministry of Gender decided to twist the name. And then also this new program brings on board other skills. Like we have a component which is called livelihood skills training, whereby you are taught how to increase the yield from that small plot of yours, how to effectively keep your goats or chicken. And also now we have the post-literacy, whereby you can come and do carpentry. So with these new components coming into FAL to make this program new, we wanted to attract more men into the program. Yes.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Juliet, and also my viewer. Thank you very much for being with us all the way from 6:30 till now. Now, I must hand over to the sports people to take us through. See you later on, God willing. Thank you, and keep it with us on UBC TV. Don't forget, Monday next week, it is International Literacy Day. Let's all go and make the voices sound the drums harder. 12 million, 27% of our population. We must change statistics. Good morning.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past